Today, Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear will visit Mayfield in western Kentucky to get a first-hand look at the city's flood damages from over the weekend. The city received an estimated foot of rain due to heavy rainfall on Tuesday. It's been more than a year and a half since that same area was devastated by tornadoes. Governor Beshear is set to meet with Mayfield's mayor at the city's elementary school, where he'll speak on that flood at 2:30 this afternoon. Kentucky State Auditor is launching a special investigation into two natural disaster relief funds. It'll review the management of the Western Kentucky Tornado and Eastern Kentucky Flooding Disaster Funds. Combined, the two have raised more than $65 million. Several lawmakers wrote a letter to the auditor suggesting an investigation. In his most recent Team Kentucky update, however, Governor Beshear made it clear the process of the disaster funds has been fully transparent.
We'll provide the documents to anybody. Absolutely anyone. Every transaction, every decision, every place a check was mailed, every place that received it. That's what is available not just to the legislature or an auditor, but to each and every Kentuckian.
The auditor will issue a report of any management weaknesses he finds, but there is no deadline for when that will be complete.
I've got you under my skin.
Today, the world's at a loss without Tony Bennett. The legendary singer died today after a career that spanned 7 decades, from making teenagers scream in the 1950s to his recent tour with Lady Gaga back in 2014. Bennett died in his New York home at the age of 96 today. He was the last of the great saloon singers devoted to classic American songs.
Fly me to the moon.
Tony Bennett was a singer's singer. For more than 60 years, he played his voice like a beautiful instrument, and with a passion that led Frank Sinatra to call him the best in the business.
Well, you know, Sinatra was my best friend. He gave me the best advice. He was 10 years my elder, and he was my master. You know what? He said, stay away from bad songs. He said, just do great songs.
And he did, singing classics from what he called the Great American Songbook. One song stood out above all others.
I left my heart San Francisco.
It became his signature and won him the first of more than a dozen Grammys. Ironically, Bennett was born in New York, the son of a grocer and a seamstress. He was performing by the age of 10 and painting too. He became a very accomplished painter.
I've always had to sing and I had to paint. It's the two things that I love.
There were tough times. In the mid-60s, there wasn't much demand for Bennett's style of music, so he tried acting.
Anyhow, I know Frankie. He won't be back.
The movie flopped, as did his 2 marriages. But in the 1980s, with his son's help, Bennett resurrected his career and found a new audience in the MTV generation.
Give it away, give it away now.
He sang duets with Elton John, Amy Winehouse, and Lady Gaga.
That's why the lady is a tramp.
Bennett was even featured on The Simpsons.
Hey, good to see you.
As he celebrated his 80th birthday.
Happy birthday again.
Thank you very much.
Bennett was hip again and having the time of his life. But at age 90, a devastating Alzheimer's diagnosis. His family saying the disease progressed rapidly with the weight of isolation during the COVID-19 pandemic. Still, he continued singing.
When there are clouds in the sky, you get by.
His wife, Susan, opening up to AARP magazine.
I just chalked it up to, old age. And so I said, well, we'll put the names of the musicians on the piano for you so you can just kind of look over it. And it was Tony that said, yeah, I'd like to go see the doctor.
The secret, Bennett has said, is loving what you do.
Your golden sun will shine for me.
Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
And Tony Bennett survived by his wife, Susan Benedetto, his 4 kids and 9 grandchildren. Tonight at 5, we'll have a fun look back at Bennett's visit to Churchill Downs during the Kentucky Derby years ago. It's a fun one. Former President Donald Trump will now stand trial in May on charges he mishandled classified material. A judge just scheduled that trial for May 20th, the compromise date later than prosecutors had sought, but sooner than the indefinite delay requested by Trump. He pleaded not guilty in June to 37 criminal counts related to his handling of classified documents, which included U.S. nuclear secrets to the nation's defense capabilities. He had denied all charges and denounced the probe as a political witch hunt. Over in Bowling Green right now, fire crews are at a fire at a historic building, also home to Senator Rand Paul's Capitol office. The fire department says crews were called to that building around 1:45 this morning, finding large flames and heavy smoke. No one was injured, and the cause of that fire is under investigation. We'll keep you posted. A Charlestown man is facing child pornography charges. Indiana State Police arrested 62-year-old Kevin Lee Devine just yesterday. They said he was sharing pornographic images of kids with an undercover detective. After a months-long investigation, police got a search warrant for his home where they said they found marijuana, weapons, and illicit photos of child sex abuse on an electronic device. Devine is also facing drug and gun charges as a felon. He's currently in the Clark County Jail. A 4-year-old boy is recovering after a car hit him in Pekin, Indiana. Police say it happened Wednesday night around 9:15 on South Horner's Chapel Road. We're told the boy was hit by a car in the driveway of a home. Witnesses say he had run toward that car while it was being driven by a juvenile family member. The boy slipped and fell under the rear tire. He was taken to Norton Children's Hospital. The incident remains under investigation. Well, there's more uncertainty this afternoon when it comes to the future of the controversial Castleman statue. It took center stage Thursday before the Historic Landmark Commission. A judge recently ruled the city does not need to put that statue back in Cherokee Triangle, allowing the commission to decide what to put there instead. During that meeting, the city's general counsel addressed reasons the original statue cannot be reinstalled, saying it would likely get vandalized again and cost more upkeep.
As you know, the statue was graffitied several times. It was cleaned once at significant cost to the taxpayers. And every time that the statue is cleaned, it also, the cleaning itself causes potential damage and degradation of the structural integrity.
In another meeting Thursday, the Planning Commission also discussed the future of that statue. Steve Weiser from Friends of Public Art, which is that group fighting its removal, was at that meeting. He told us he's pleased the Planning Commission took itself out of the decision making, but he also said with the city still determined not to put Castleman back, legal action will continue.
At this moment, to be named the permanent chief of LMPD is just so humbling. It's rewarding. It just took me back to the days when I first started in policing, that this journey has now led here.
LMPD, as you know, has a new and permanent chief in Jacqueline Gwynn Villarreal. As soon as we got the word on Louisville's new chief, we went to community activists in our city to get their reaction, and one of them, Pastor Tim Finley Jr. He's the CEO of ElderServe, who also ran for mayor. Finley shook her hand shortly after that announcement yesterday. He said the new chief can help serve the city by being available and transparent with community members and by making true connections when she meets people.
We've been promised transparency, and I think today is a day of cautious optimism. You know, we have someone who has been in the job, someone that we want to see succeed, but there are a lot of unanswered questions.
This conduct.
Now, one lingering question we did have was if LMPD would meet its 60-day deadline to release body camera video of the incidents mentioned in the DOJ report. Chief Villarreal said she's going through all 62 cases mentioned in that report to see if any further officer discipline's needed. Mayor Greenberg said they will release all of the videos within the next 2 weeks, but will likely miss next Tuesday's deadline. The chief is one of the highest paid Metro employees right now. Her salary is $238,000 a year. That's the same as her former chief, Erica Shields. As interim chief, she made $216,000 a year.